Racism should not exist anywhere, and we should work towards equality for all people.
Tackling inequalities shall be the core agenda of our policymakers.
Do you have those problems? Can you imagine how you construct a nation with so many different people?
समाज में प्रचलित वर्ण व्यवस्था जाति व धार्मिक असमानताओं को बढ़ावा देती है.
Worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal.
So as far as my identity is concerned, I don't know. I do face questions like that. Where are you from?
Equality is necessity of the upcoming generation.
Inequality is a catastrophe for the human worldwide.
Some are privileged and others are not. Rich and poor are treated differently on the basis of luxury they have.
Eliminating discrimination against women or gender inequality is part of sustainable development goals.
Poverty is the biggest disease in the world. We cannot eliminate poverty unless we tackle poverty.
One may not fall victim of such biases in society, but you cannot deny heterogeneity.
These people are engaged in this scavenging for the ages and ages, more than 1,000 years there.
Will anyone tell me how I am inferior to man?
Equality, like liberty, is the founding pillar of democracy.
So tell me, why the society is racist?
Hello friends, I am once again with you to discuss an important issue in society. Inequality. Yes, this is the topic of today's discussion. Do you also face discrimination? Have you ever felt victim of inequality, ignominy and injustice? I am sure you must have experienced them. No matter what identity you have and where you come from, the devil of inequality must have humiliated you. So let us discuss how to tackle inequalities. So friends, let us define inequality. As per the definition of the Policy Division of United Nations, inequality is the state of not being equal, especially in status, rights and opportunities. It is a concept very much at the heart of social justice theories. So inequality means lack of access or uneven access to the social amenities that are necessary for an adequate standard of living. It is also the exclusion of people from full and equal participation in societal events, structure that are perceived to be important, valuable, economically, socially, culturally, personally worthwhile and socially desirable. Before we study inequality, one question crops up into our mind. Why should we study inequality? This may be a valid question, but there are many valid reasons in favor of studying inequality. In fact, the study of inequality matters a lot. It matters to reduce poverty. Income, education and assets for income generation are unequal in this country. It will help in reducing both absolute and relative deprivation. It matters to achieve desired growth. It has been noticed that countries with higher levels of inequality have lower economic growth rates. If incomes are equally distributed, it may reduce poverty and lead to desired growth. Studying inequality is a matter of rights. Ethically, it is the duty of the government to maintain a reasonable degree of equality among various groups. Everyone must be given equal opportunity for individual as well as the overall growth. We need this study for peace and law and order. All sort of inequalities create utter dissatisfaction, which ultimately leads to critical law and order situations, social unrest, or violent conflicts. This hinders the progress and leads to widen the gap between the poor and the rich. We need this study for achieving SDGs. Discussion on inequality will pave a way for attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, which is the goal number 10. So friends, studying inequality matters a lot. It is really the need of the hour. We need to study inequality for maintenance of law and order, for maintenance of peace, and for achieving the target of desired growth rate. In next few slides, I'll let you know what are some of the theories of inequality. First theory is Marx theory of inequality. According to this theory, society is based on class struggle. Capitalism is an enemy of society. Large-scale unemployment keeps wages down. Capitalism causes polarization of wealth, and a welfare state maintains the capitalist system. Radical social and political changes can deal with inequalities. The conflict theory of Marx tells us that there is a competition between groups within society over limited resources. Social and economic institutions are the tools of this struggle between classes or groups, which are used to maintain inequality and the dominance of the ruling class. Society is divided into the proletarian working class and the bourgeois ruling class. There is a conflict among capitalist factions and between various social, religious, and other types of groups. So there are four important things in conflict theory of Marx. Number one, competition. Number two, dominance of the ruling class. Number three, wrong division of society. And number fourth, capitalist factions. Now let us look at Max Weber's theory of inequality. Weber says that inequality is more complex than what Marx described. Power influences others to do your work. Sources of power include ownership of land and capital, social status, physical strength, and education. Power, status, and bureaucracy allow some people in society to succeed. People from groups and organizations tend to look after their own interests, thus sustaining and reproducing social inequality. The next theory is fundamentalist theory, who believes that inequality is necessary for a society to keep it functional. Inequality allows the more able in society to thrive and take up the most important social positions. A fundamentalist believes that success comes through hard work and talent. This theory seems to be radically against the concept of human rights, because if we believe in this theory, we would never like to work for equality, which will prove fatal to peace, progress, and social harmony, and also pave a way for continuous conflicts in the society. So there are many angles from which you can study inequality. There are several other theories available. As per your requirement and aims and objectives of the study, you can decide which theory is to be applied. But whatever the theory you apply, peace, progress, inclusive growth, and social harmony should always be taken into consideration. Friends, inequality in any form remains inequality, and it proves to be fatal to a civilized society. To maintain peace and to create social harmony, we need to decrease the level of inequality as far as possible. Our government, non-government organizations, scholars, and social workers should try their level best to decrease the level of inequalities in society for sustenance of the social structure. Now, before we proceed, let us know how many types of inequalities are there. Although there are several types of inequalities, yet most of them fall under one of the following categories: social, political, or economic inequality. Let us now discuss types of inequalities one by one. So first of all, we will take up social inequality. How can we define social inequality? What is the right definition of social inequality? Let us know. Social inequality is the existence of unequal opportunities and rewards for different social positions or statuses within a group or society. When we start discriminating on the basis of race, caste, color, creed, class, locality, gender, disabilities, educational standard, and so on and so forth, this becomes an example of inequality. So social inequality is multifaceted. Discrimination can be made on the basis of race, caste, class, gender, religion, locality, disability, inequality in family, educational inequality, urban and rural inequality, and health inequalities. Friends, the world has seen several dirty faces of racial inequality. People are harassed, humiliated, and even killed due to racial hatred. In very recent past, in 2020, we have seen the dirtiest face of racial equality in the United States, which has created a great furor among peace-loving people across the world. But there have been reformers, there have been social workers, there have been some great personalities who have always discarded inequalities on the basis of race. Friends, such people who worked relentlessly against racism throughout their life are called champions. And one of the champions is Martin Luther King. He says, "I refuse to accept the views that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word." He also says, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." The second champion who fought a very difficult battle against racism throughout his life is Nelson Mandela, who says, "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite." Undoubtedly, racial inequality is age-old, but I'm taking some recent examples of racial discrimination even during the ongoing pandemic. Let us look at the data how people of a particular race have been discriminated. Look at the chart released by Kaiser Family Foundation of United States of America in February 2021. The orange bars show vaccinations, blue cases of COVID, and red deaths of black people in various states of America. Early vaccine data suggests that the racial groups in the US most at risk of the virus are not receiving the most shots. Black infections and death rates are significantly higher than their vaccination rates. Now look at the another data chart released by APM Research Lab in United States of America in February 2021. According to the APM Research Lab, the mortality rate for Black Americans and indigenous people is much higher than other races. For each 100,000 Americans of their respective group, about 211 indigenous people and 155 black people have died from the coronavirus compared to 121 whites and 76 Asians as of February 2nd, 2021. If you look at the data of hospitalization rate, it is equally bad. American Indian and Black are having more hospitalization rates with COVID-19. And this is the report of January 16, 2021 released by Center for Disease Control and Prevention Data, United States of America. According to this report, around 646 indigenous people and 564 black people have had COVID-19 symptoms serious enough to require hospitalization compared to 262 whites. Friends, in India we are crying for vaccines. But do you know that the population of America is almost 1/4 of the population of India? And the economy of the United States is 7 times bigger than the economy of India. Still, the black population has not been taken care properly, which shows discrimination against them. In fact, inequality is in the blood of people. But when it becomes the cause of discrimination and inhuman behavior, it hampers the growth of a country. Inequality has spared no one. The nations which practice inequality in any form have to pay for it. They have to suffer huge financial losses. Let us look at the cost of racial inequality. As per a study, the wealth gap between American whites and blacks is projected to cost the US economy between $1 to $1.5 trillion in lost consumption and investment between 2019 and 2028. This translates to a projected GDP penalty of 4 to 6% in 2028. Really, the cost of racism in the United States is horrible. As per the report of the banks, since 2000, the US economy has lost $16 trillion because of discrimination. Another study in 2016 indicates that in France, GDP could jump 1.5% over the next 20 years, an economic bonus of $3.6 billion by reducing racial gaps in access to employment, work hours, and education. So friends, so far you must have known that inequality is not only fatal to law and order and human relationship, but also to the overall economy of a country. Not only studying of inequality is necessary, but also we must know the ways how to tackle inequalities. So let us know how to tackle racial inequalities. Although the whole world is trying towards tackling the racial inequalities, because racial inequalities has done great damage to humanity as well as to the economy of several countries, especially United States of America and some countries in the European world. So tackling inequality is not very easy. Still, people are trying. Since we have discussed a lot about the racial inequalities in the world, therefore, now let us discuss some of the ways of tackling racial inequalities. The first and foremost thing which is needed to tackle racial inequality is to promote racial literacy. We need to work with the local bodies promoting race equality. I found a very interesting thematic review on black and minority students on the website of Edinburgh University, UK. It says, racial literacy means having the understanding and practice to recognize, respond and counter forms of everyday racism or racial microaggression at all levels, personal, cultural and institutional. Therefore, we need to fight a battle on all fronts. Otherwise, we won't be able to defeat inequality. And to win this battle, we should not be silent. We should keep talking to people. We should embed anti-racism into our values. Our offices, institutions, and organizations need special training, and the government should take appropriate action. Respect and cultivate diversity. We need to respect and cultivate diversity in society. And there are many unconscious biases in our character. Those biases also need to be tackled. To tackle a problem in society, big or small, research plays a very important role. So, in order to tackle inequality, we need to carry out research on issues relating to race inequality. After research, some policy level interventions are needed. So, we need to frame and implement effective policies on the basis of research conducted. A policy cannot work unless we have a very good monitoring mechanism. So we need to strengthen our monitoring bodies and complaint mechanism and fix up the responsibility and accountability of the people who are responsible for implementation of the policies and receiving complaints. We cannot have best results of our efforts unless we work with the local bodies promoting race equality to help them work more effectively. Countries like Canada, Denmark and the Netherlands have taken some effective measures in their fight against racial discrimination. The strategy of the Canadian government should be taken as an example to fight against racial inequality, and every country facing this problem should copy the model. The strategy of Canada contains establishment of a new anti-racism secretariat to address racism, launching of an anti-racism action plan to address disinformation and hate, developing a national framework and evidence-based guidelines to better respond to hate crimes, hate incidents and hate speech. National public education and awareness campaign, increasing reliable, usable and comparable data and evidence regarding racism and discrimination, additional funding for community support, multiculturalism and anti-racism initiatives and programs. Racial inequality is a devil. It is a great danger to the humanity. It is fatal to the world peace. Therefore, the countries which are facing this problem should take those countries as a model which have dealt with this problem with their effective plans and policies. Friends, we know it very well that India is a culturally diverse and linguistically plural society. People in this country wear different dresses, have variety food and practice a number of art forms which give them a unique identity. It has been also seen that the people of North India never disrespect the culture of South India, and the people living in West never hate the unique customs of the East. But like the other part of the world, the problem of inequality is also found in India. If racism has done great damage to several countries, casteism has been an almost incurable disease in India. Rather, it seems to be a bigger problem than racism, which needs to be addressed properly and delicately. Let us discuss caste-based inequalities in India. Let us have a look at the caste statistics in India. The four categories in Indian societies: scheduled tribes, scheduled castes, other backward classes, and general category have been divided into almost 3000 castes. And this has been further subdivided into approximately 25,000 subcastes. As per the latest research data, the scheduled tribes, scheduled castes, other backward classes and generals in India are 9%, 20%, 41% and 30% respectively. It means almost 1/3 population of India is from scheduled castes and scheduled tribes communities. In the caste hierarchy of Indian society, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes are the lower caste societies. And such a large section of society has been the victim of caste hatredness. Forget about the past. Let us look at the recent data released by National Crime Record Bureau. As per the data released by National Crime Record Bureau, the crime against scheduled castes and scheduled tribes significantly increased during 2019. 26% rise against scheduled tribes and 7% rise against scheduled castes was seen during 2019. Another important thing to notice is about land holdings by SCs and STs. As per Agricultural Census 2015-16, India has around 157 million hectares area for agricultural use, out of which around 146 million hectares area is operational land holdings. As per the report, Dalits or the scheduled castes operate just 9% of this vast land, while their population share in rural area is 18.5% as per the 2011 census. As shown in the other surveys and the census, most of the Dalits are in fact landless. The Adivasi communities or scheduled tribes operate about 11% of the land, but most of this land is in difficult remote terrains, not reached by irrigation or even all-weather roads. The balance of about 80% of the agricultural land is operated by the two other categories, that is OBC and general. Casteism and caste-related hatred and atrocities have created caste chaos in the country. Caste-based discrimination hampers the progress of the particular community and poses threat to the national integrity. It leads to less or no representation of marginal groups, thereby causes weakening of democracy. It also gives rise to untouchability, stops labor mobility, and promotes exploitation of the lower castes. It may increase crime and atrocities and disturb law and order. It forces people to remain socially, economically, educationally, and politically backward. Position of the country in the development index continues to be declined. It creates chances of religious conversion and stops modernization. This deprivation has created caste chaos in society. Most of the Dalits are landless laborers or having small holdings. This has created utter dissatisfaction in them. Besides this, they are also facing atrocities, which has really created caste chaos in the country and which is fatal to the unity of the country. Throughout his life, Dr. Ambedkar fought for socio-political and economic equality in Indian society. But as the chief architect of the Indian Constitution, he made several provisions to ensure socio-political and economic equality in the country. For example, Article 14 of the Constitution of India is for equality before law. Article 15 is prohibition of discrimination. Article 16, equality of opportunity. Article 17, abolition of untouchability, which was very close to his heart because he and his ancestors were the victims of untouchability in the society, and there were many other people who were outcast and who fell victim of untouchability. So he wanted to abolish untouchability lawfully, which he did through Article 17 of the Constitution of India. Article 21, right to education. 23, prohibition of forced labor. 46, promotion of educational and economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other weaker sections. Article 330, reservation for seats for SCs and STs in the House of People. Article 338, 338A and 338B, Constitution of National Commission for Scheduled Caste, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes and National Commission for Other Backward Classes. Article 341 and 342 are listing of SCs and STs in the states. Dr. Ambedkar is the crusader for social justice, top intellectual of the millennium, champion of human rights and strongest advocate of equality in India. He dreamed of a discrimination-free country, and his dream of equality is slowly coming true through all provisions of the Constitution. Very soon, India is going to become a culturally diverse and socially united and homogeneous society. Now let us look at affirmative action in India for the sake of equality. Affirmative action ensures equal opportunities, decreases discrimination, and gives rights to the deprived people. The first and very important, much needed affirmative action is reservation. It is a step that signifies reverse discrimination. Reservation is actually representation of the deprived people in three areas: jobs and promotions, in government services, in admission in public institutions, and for seats in legislature. But there seems to be a problem in the implementation of the reservation policy. The population of SCs, STs and OBCs is 18, 8 and 41% in the country. But 90% of the SCs, STs and OBC workers are employed in private sector. Therefore, reservation policy seems to be less effective so far. Of course, reservation policy is one of the important steps to tackle inequalities in the country. But this policy needs to be implemented rightly for right people. Besides this, there are many developmental plans which help the government in tackling inequalities in the country. And the most important plan which is being implemented nowadays is DAPSC, which is Developmental Action Plan for the Scheduled Castes. DAPSC is the part of the socio-economic and financial inclusion strategies of the Government of India. Under DAPSC, certain percentage of funds are earmarked by the ministry or department wise exclusively for the welfare of SCs. The allocated fund has to be spent for the SC welfare over and above the normal expenditure. The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment of the Government of India through euthan.gov.in monitors the progress under the DAPSC. The allocation during last 3 years and the current year is as given below. In 2018, 52,605.81 crore rupees were allocated. In 2019, 56,818.25 crores were allocated. In 2020, 81,340.74 crore were allocated, and in this financial year, in 2021, 83,256.62 crores have been allocated for this purpose. It's a huge amount, and if this scheme is implemented very well, it can do wonders. It can bring revolutionary changes in the society. But there are some lacunas in this scheme also, like other schemes. The biggest problem in DAPSC is that despite monitoring, the ministries are either not spending DAPSC allocation or making notional allocations. Therefore, the government will have to make extra efforts not only for the allocation of the funds but for the spending of the funds for the purpose it has been allocated. Over the period of time, it has been felt that empowerment and equality are complementary to each other. Realizing this, the Government of India has also made some schemes for the empowerment of the marginalized section of society. Some of the social empowerment schemes are protection of civil rights and prevention of atrocities, Pradhan Mantri Adarsh Gram Yojana PMAGY, Dr. Ambedkar's scheme of social integration through intercaste marriages, Dr. Ambedkar National Relief to Scheduled Castes Victims, Pre- and Post-Matric Scholarships, National Overseas Scholarships, Babu Jagjeevan Ram Chhatrawas schemes, and free coaching for SC students. Despite all good schemes and policies, inequality still exists in society. There are some problem areas which need to be addressed at all. Some effective plans and policy level interventions are still needed. Data on poverty, basic amenities, education, standard of living, job and livelihood opportunities, land holdings, health status, atrocities, etc. indicate that the chasm of disparities between SC/STs and upper caste is deepening. Research conducted on tackling caste-based inequalities has been poor and insufficient so far. Government made several plans and policies which have been effective to some extent in tackling inequalities. Still, caste-based hatred could not be eliminated from the society. Therefore, the government will have to make some stringent rules against such atrocities. The most painful example which is still found in society is manual scavenging. Despite laws and sincere efforts of the government, manual scavenging still exists. Friends, if we are really serious about tackling inequalities in the country, some immediate actions are needed. Everybody knows that in Indian society, annihilation of caste seems to be a very, very difficult action. Therefore, programs of social harmony may be promoted. Implementation part of affirmative action and policies has to be continuously evaluated. Developmental schemes on SCs and STs may bring revolutionary changes if they are implemented properly. Equal schemes for the poor from general category may also be made so that less objections may be faced. Health, education and livelihood opportunity schemes may be revised time to time and implemented most effectively if we really want to tackle inequalities in our country. Friends, the main problem in our society is that we have forgotten our values. Our rich culture teaches so many good things to us, but the problem is that we have stopped paying attention to the teachings of our culture. Today, morality is seen nowhere and values are missing from our life. But we should remember that these are the pillars of a society, and a building without pillars is bound to collapse. Please start giving value to the values. Follow your tradition and believe in your ancient culture. Now listen to this verse of Bhagavad Gita, how delicately it gives the message of equality. Atmaupammen sarvatra samam pashyati yo Arjun, sukham vayadi va dukkham sayogi paramo mate. I regard them to be perfect yogis who see the true equality of all living beings and respond to the joys and sorrows of others as if they were their own. Also listen to this verse of Isha Upanishad. Yetu sarvani bhutani atmani ev anupashyati cha sarvabhuteshu atmanam tatah vijugupsate. He who constantly sees all beings in the self and the self in all beings does not hate. Friends, all religions teach us equality, but Buddhism teaches it very effectively. Buddha's idea of peace is based on liberty, equality and fraternity. And the same thing was repeated by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in his last speech in the Constituent Assembly. He says, political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. What does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality and fraternity as the principles of life. They form a union of trinity in the sense that to divorce one from the other is to defeat the very purpose of democracy. Without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of the few over the many. Finally, I would like to recite 4 lines of famous English poet S.T. Coleridge, who writes, "He prayeth best who loveth best. All things, both great and small, for the dear God who loveth us, He made and loveth all." So friends, we have discussed race and caste-based inequalities in this lecture. I'll meet you soon with the next lecture on gender, religion and disabilities-based inequalities. Thank you very much.